like in 3D virtual reality. It was all in consciousness, targeted with electromagnetic systems that would give you an experience, and you would absolutely think it's real.
What they're trying to do, and what human society is absolutely structured to do, through manipulation of fear, manipulation of low vibrational emotion, of anxiety, of hatred, is to hold the span of frequency that humans are interacting with possibility in the frequency band of the matrix. And if you're in there, you are in this world, and you are also of it. You've got no other point of reference, no other point of attention to actually observe the world that you're experiencing. You've only got what you think you can see. And thus, this is what the matrix is all about. It's about isolating our point of attention in what I call body consciousness and label consciousness. And then once isolated from the insight and inspiration of expanded awareness, you take that isolated point of attention and you program it from cradle to grave with the perception of reality, the perception of the world, the perception of world events, and the perception of self that suits your agenda of mass control.
And let's be careful what we put out there as fact, when it could be scrambled psychotronic gibberish from people who have been victims, quite frankly, or targeted by these very sophisticated consciousness interfacing electronic systems.
Almost the entirety of humanity lives its life on what I call the postage stamp consensus. This is a tiny, tiny range of possibility, a tiny range of how things are that most people live their lives. Why? Because they come into the world, and it's a perpetual motion machine, or what I call the perceptual motion machine. You come into the world, immediately your parents who've been through this programming system start to download that perception to you. Not out of malevolence, but they think this is how things are, so they pass them on to you. Very soon now, 3-4 years maximum, you're at a desk. You've got an authority figure representing the postage stamp consensus version of reality. Now this authority figure is telling you when you have to be there, when you can leave, when you can eat, when you can't, when you can speak, when you can go to the toilet, and all the way through your formative years, you are downloading the perception of reality that I call the postage stamp. You then go out at the end of this, having got into enormous debt at the end of it to pay for your own programming at college and university. Then you go out into the world, and you go into politics, you go into banking, you go into science, you go into academia, you go into journalism, and you all take with you that core programming of reality, what I call the postage stamp. And then all these institutions confirm to each other the postage stamp is actually real, the postage stamp is credible, and anyone that steps off the postage stamp is ridiculed and condemned in a way that is very much akin to prisoners in a cell, and one prisoner tries to escape and the other prisoners stop them getting out, which of course is part of that wonderful analogy of Plato and the analogy of the cave, which was a brilliant analogy of what I'm talking about here. And so people then 24/7 are getting their information from mainstream sources, and it's all from the postage stamp. So from cradle to grave, not only are we in this fake reality, we're decoding thinking it's real, but we are being programmed day after day after day from womb to cemetery to believe in a reality that is about that big, and that anyone who's outside of that is mad or bad.
And this kind of brainwashing